Welcome again to the Brand Ambassador series. Today is Jerome Tessendier. It's a big house with boutique cognacs. Can we say that?
Yeah, actually, District Tessendier is, we are a big producer of cognac. We are covering all the region of cognac, the 6 area of cognac. And we are an old house of cognac, set up by my grandfather in 1880. And I created 12 years ago, some different brands, different collection of cognac. Mm-hmm. So we are a small house supplying different brands of cognac as well.
Can we name those?
Okay, we have the Cognac Dubuisson, right, which is coming only from our own Domaine in Bordeaux. Maybe we'll come back later on the Bordeaux. And then we have the Cognac Park. Cognac Park was made by Dominic Park, a Scottish guy, who left London and came in a cognac region, and we met. And he asked me to create his own cognac. It was in the early 90s. Mm-hmm. And Dominic decided to be retired 4 or 5 years ago and asked me to be in charge of his brand. So now we are working on his brand. We are owner and producer of Cognac Park.
Mm-hmm. But here in the United States, we know these brands, but only if we go to the very fine, maybe boutique liquor stores and very fine restaurants and bars. Why is it that we don't see you everywhere?
Well, first of all, I think because of the position of these brands, we are more in niche markets. These brands are what you call in USA craft cognac, handmade, and so of course we are not dedicated to go in the large supermarket chain.
Right. You mentioned that Dubuisson means Bordeaux, but what does it mean to be a Bordeaux cognac?
So the cognac region is divided in 6 different areas. And you have in the center of the cognac region, Grand Champagne, Petit Champagne, and Bordeaux. Then you have Fin-Bois, and more around this cognac region, the Bon Bois and Bois Ordinaire. In the center, the best 3 areas, Grand Champagne, Petit Champagne, and Bordeaux, give some typicity to the cognac. I mean, the flavors are different, the way they are maturing is different, and the taste, of course, is different.
So how
so the Bordeaux is the smallest area. We are only 53 owners of Domaine in the Bordeaux region, mm-hmm. Compared to the 4,500 owners, growers in the Cognac region. So it's very small and exclusive appellation, Bordeaux.
But some big names have made their success using quite a bit of Bordeaux.
Yes, I mean,
what does it bring to the blend? And maybe we need to taste it.
Okay,
maybe we need to taste it. That'll help us
to understand better.
We've got 2 here. We're starting with the 12-year-old.
Let's start with the 12-year-old, right, because it's very typical from this Bordeaux. The thing is, the Bordeaux appears maybe only 10 or 15 years ago only, because the master blender used Bordeaux for blending, but of course, the total production of Bordeaux is not big. They were just, thank you, Fabien. They were just using it in a small percentage. The target for the master blender was to give some elegant, flourish nose, and very elegant end mouth.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's already very elegant on the nose.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
How would you describe this? This, I mean, to me, it's a candy for adults.
You have to be careful with the candies.
Well, yeah. Don't follow everybody.
We have to be moderate even with candies. So the Bordeaux is a cognac which is, as you say, he gives some softness or sweetness to the nose, mm-hmm. on flavors, but he has some flourish as well. Flourish balance with the fruit, more flourish dominant than fruity, Of course, then when it will be older and older, the fruit will develop more than the flowers. And then is very smooth and very light and with very nice end. So
And that's just the grapes made into wine, and this wine is distilled in a very classic way. If it's from the Grand Champagne or the Petit Champagne or the Borderie, it's made the same way. So
yes, but the terroir, the origin is make the difference. Of course, in a land in Borderie, you have some hills who are oriented to the west. You have some flat vineyards. So of course, you can have some difference because the sun is touching the grapes differently. Every year, of course, the result is not exactly the same. The quality can change a little bit. That's why then we are blending to keep on the same quality. But mostly we have this dominance with a flourish nose, sweetness to the nose, softness in mouth, and very nice and in end with elegance.
let's see. Santé.
Santé Flavia.
Very easy.
Yeah, very easy. Long aftertaste.
But long.
This is very typical of Bordeaux. This very long aftertaste.
There's no bite.
No, this cognac has to be soft. You must feel it and just warm inside.
It's got an oily feeling, and it warms you up, of course, but not in any burning way. It's very long. I mean, for a 12-year-old, I guess this would be this is already way more than XO.
Yeah, I mean, it's older, more over mature than some kind of XO. Yeah, you can find in the market.
So why did you decide to go by that age statement instead of the more classic VS, VSOP, XO, or Hordage, whatever you want to call it?
You know, in the portfolio, Domaine Dubuisson is not dedicated to make big volume. We target to be placed in niche markets. So for me, 12 years old was like a minimum of what could be very interesting to have as a taste from Bordeaux, what we can get from Bordeaux.
Oh, this is quite complex already, but then if you create an 18-year-old, what are you looking for? Because a few people say Borderies cannot really age for too long. They become a bit fat, they become a bit odd, weird.
No, I mean, of course, if maybe they are talking, there were very old tradition in the 60s in France to drink in the Parisian restaurants old Borderie, la vieille Borderie. As the same, they were the vieil Armagnac, the old Armagnac, and they were the old Borderie. And maybe people has in mind these old Borderies where the cognac was a little bit heavy at this time because they had such different process of distillation. Now we adapt the process of distillation. We don't use too much new oak as it was in the past. So maybe these. So now, I mean, 12 and 18 years old, for me, what was interesting is to make different stage of maturation, and people can see how the Bordeaux is changing during the time. And this is why we made a portfolio like this. This is.
Would you have a Bordeaux that is 25-year-old?
We have Bordeaux even more than this. We have XO, which is 50 years old, and it is the very old Bordeaux we have in our stock. It is maybe the final step of the maturation we can get and appreciate from a Bordeaux.
Is this in Domaine already, or?
No, we actually even have oldest Bordeaux which are in Domaine, which are coming from my grandfather, but they are more collectors than to be sold. This 50 years old, actually, till this alcohol content is more than 44, 45, we can keep it in barrels usually.
All
We
right.
don't need to put it in
Very good.
a